Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this New World video, I want to talk about my first impressions with the New World preview that began on August 25th, 2020. This test, stress test, whatever you want to call it, does end on September 4th. And I just wanted to do a day one, just kind of really early impressions and just what I thought right off the bat with the game. And I'm really hoping to give you some insights into my impressions with the game, my thoughts, and maybe just kind of give you some information that you might not already know about the game. So I hope that you find this video of value to you. Let's go ahead and jump right in. First things first, you're probably wondering, how did you get access? Big shout out to one of the DMGCREW community members, the ZMax, for hooking me up with access to this preview. Super thankful to have the opportunity to jump in and see the game this early. Even though I know the game was delayed so early, can be a little bit situational there. The links of who has access and how to get access will be linked down below. It does seem a little bit limited, but yeah, you can check that link out below for more information on that. When I first saw this game, I had envisioned this really wonderful and beautiful world that was exciting to explore, secrets to uncover, and just fun little exploration, and also the PvP side of things, sieges, taking over cities, controlling towns, running with your guild, all that sort of stuff that you would expect to find in an MMO. And when I booted up the game, the combat came off to me as pretty good. I've seen better and I've seen smoother combat, but it wasn't bad by any means. It was definitely playable, and it did have some sort of clunkiness to it in regards to using the sword. There are different weapons available in the game that we will talk about later in the video. But when you very first start out, you start with the sword, and they kind of teach you about your basic attack, your heavy attack, your blocking, dodging, and just the basic combat things you can do. It seems pretty easy to pick up, but yet I could see it being quite a challenge to master when it comes to PvP and outplaying the opponent. That is basically how combat felt to me in a nutshell. Visually, it was appealing. The monsters I was fighting in PvE, there were some skeletons up on a pirate abandoned cove or a shipwreck of some sort, and it just looked appealing. I just wanted to explore and kind of see what was going to be around the next corner. One thing that really kind of caught me off guard is they didn't drop big shiny loot like I'm used to, which, you know, shouldn't be a surprise since it's not that type of game. It kind of seems like it's more of a survival-esque type of game where you're trying to find your flint, your wood, so that you can make a fire. You're trying to find that linen so you can craft that armor. General things like that, instead of like, oh, here's a rare chest piece that dropped off this zombie sort of thing. So it all makes perfect sense and is no way a complaint, just something I kind of noticed. But as I progressed more in through my time playing, there were item drops. Nothing super noteworthy, but there are materials and different things you can find. And we also discovered a resource that you can find within the game that I will not spoil. But it seems like there's quite a bit there to find when it comes to loot and all of that. So aside from loot and the gathering aspect with your survival and crafting, there are quests in the game as well, which really kind of help get you through the game, get you acquainted, kind of like a tutorial, and just give you something to always be working towards. Once we came across our very first village, and it was more of a city, I would say. It had crafting stations, housing, an auction house market type of deal. It even had a project board that I could go and see how many people before me and what they've contributed, and how far along we are to upgrading the city and to getting higher and better crafting stations. This just felt really great to me. It felt like a real world. There's other people doing things and contributing and progressing the game, even when I'm not online. It's nice to have that sense of community. It's something I've been really wanting recently. The game really came off to me as Elder Scrolls Online. I said it while I was streaming the game, and I almost just wanted to go play Elder Scrolls Online. It just reminded me so much of that game, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But after spending more time and looking around and just kind of taking in some things really early on, some things that I noticed on a surface level were that the map, first of all, was just pretty massive. I mean, it was pretty massive when you looked at it, and the zones were blocked off by factions. So there's 3 factions. You can compete for land. You can control cities. I think you can even control like the tax rates and everything like that. So you're going to have the big guilds controlling these lands. You could maybe work with the guild. I just started to see all the possibilities that could happen within this game. Another thing we stumbled across was the way to sign up for war. I didn't sign up for a faction quite yet because I'm trying to see what the DMGCREW is deciding to do as far as the faction and things like that. But the wars are on a timer. They are 30 minutes long, and it tells you a specific day. The one that I saw didn't happen for another 2 days at 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's kind of cool that you're going to have people looking forward to those. And I'm really curious to see at that time how the server is going to handle it and how many people are going to be actually participating in the war. So enough about my impressions and kind of just general surface level thoughts that I had while playing the game. I want to talk a little bit about skills, weapons, and kind of your trade skills. Just some little cool things that I saw in the game that I want to share with you. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, when you first start out your character, you're going to start out with a sword. And you have different weapon masteries. Each of these have their very own skill tree. I'll show you just a few on the screen. I'm not going to break down all of them in this video anyway. I do want to try to keep it a little bit short and sweet just for you. But you have different swords. Let's go ahead and look at the straight sword. These are going to be your one-handed weapons. There is currently no dual wielding in the game. You also have your two-handed warhammer, a fire staff, and a life staff. So your damage dealing staff and your healing staff, obviously. We experimented a little bit here with the fire staff because I kind of wanted to try out the wizard type thing, and I got this pillar of flame, and it was actually quite fun to use. However, we were kind of talking, it'd be nice to see like a lightning and a frost staff as well, and some other things. But before we go off on that, let's talk about the ranged weapons. You also have a bow, a musket, and then you also have different ammo types as well that you can equip with these. So as far as weapons go, it seems like they really should expand to more. I mean, they should have daggers, dual wielding, different types of staves, maybe different types of two-handed. Lots of things they could do here, but you know, I think for starting out, it's all right. And you know, the skill trees are pretty nice to look at. I know the level cap is 60, so I don't know how many nodes exactly there are, but I'm going to assume you could probably almost max out one of these trees. And the way these skill trees work, and we're looking at the fire staff skill tree here, is the pillar of fire, siege of fire, and meteor shower. So these square icons, those are going to be your actual abilities. And each skill tree has two talent or specialization type things that you can go down. For the fire staff, you had the flame summoner, which is more of your ranged sniper type build. Your pyromaniac would be more of your kind of your up close range. You do an aura, you can sprint in, things like that. But the way it works is you only have 3 ability slots on each weapon. So for the staff, if I go flame summoner, I would use all 3 of those square abilities. For the skill bar, and then you also have things that modify like you would expect really kind of in any skill tree type of system, right? But anyway, each weapon has pretty much the same setup when it comes to skill trees. And the other thing, so I know I mentioned that the game really reminds me a lot of Elder Scrolls Online, and it's really true in this game as well, as your weapon skill levels up as you use the weapon. So if you want to become better at fire staff, use your fire staff. It just feels really nice in that regard. You also gain attribute points when you level up. You can get strength, dexterity, intelligence, focus, and constitution. Focus is your CDR, your cooldown reduction. Constitution is your health. Intelligence is your magic damage. Dexterity is ranged damage and some melee damage as well. And then strength is melee. That should be, I mean, that's pretty default by now, right, when it comes to MMOs. But, you know, I started to go after focus because I really wanted to get a lot of the cooldown reduction. And also, once you have your attributes and your weapon masteries figured out, you also have trade skills available, and there is a whole load here. You have a total of 7 crafting skills, 4 gathering skills, and 5 refining skills. There's quite a bit here. That's what, like 16 different trade skills that you can get. And I'm sure that within your guild, you're going to want to have at least one person specialized in each of these. And you can really, I think the crafting is going to be a really huge social aspect and community aspect of the game. And just really having people in your company, which is that's what they're calling guilds, focused on certain specializations. A few more notes here on crafting that I want to mention is you can level each of these up, allowing you to gather bigger and better reagents and materials. Leveling up your refining allows you to craft better and better materials as well. And then leveling up your actual crafting allows you to create higher quality weapons and items and gear, which that should be self-explanatory. We did manage to craft a green quality sword. I think it was part of the tutorial, so nothing special. But just so you know, it wouldn't really be an MMO without that aspect anyway, right? At the end of the day, there's 3 different editions you can get for the game. You can get the standard edition for $39.99, the deluxe for $49.99, and the Steelbook edition for $59.99. So basically, the buy-in price for this game here is you're looking at about $40. I gotta say, at the end of the day, you know, I've only played a few hours, so it's really hard for me to tell you if I truly think that this game is worth your money currently. But I definitely think it's a game you should keep your eye on. I can see great potential here with this game. I played quite a bit. I played Crowfall for 3 months. This game really reminds me of Crowfall, but a lot better. When I first saw the game, I thought, you know, that's Crowfall, but just better graphics. But there's so much more to this game. PvP is opt-in, opt-out. That is huge. That caters to so many different audiences there. You have people that really only want to PvP, and you have people that don't like to PvP. So having that option is just such a great thing. Just the sense of community I got, seeing the map, seeing people work towards land, fighting each other, having these rivalries, just this feeling of world. Just got me really excited, and I really wanted to keep playing the game. But at the same time, it was getting a little bit late, and I wanted to crank out this video just for you to talk about my first few hours with the game and my initial thoughts and impressions. So I hope this video was of value to you in that regard. If you enjoy all the content on the channel, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell button to get notified when I post new weekly videos. I thank you so much for your continued support and time in watching these videos. It means the world to me. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.